Discover Exploration is a privately owned, London-based exploration company which has been going for about 2 years now, and in that time it's been doing some quite exciting things in parts of the world where not much has been going on for some time. More of that in a moment. Alexandra Mollinger is the commercial director. People might think, well, okay, so you're an exploration company, you're involved in sort of Africa, Mozambique, in the Comoros area. We don't know much about it. It doesn't seem very exciting. Why should we care?
Well, Nigel, thanks for inviting me here today. You're not the only one. The Comoros is one of the lesser known countries in the world, we think it's a very interesting asset. On the one hand, it's completely underexplored. There have never been any wells drilled, oil and gas wells. Very little seismic up to 6 months ago. On the other hand, it is located just outboard of the largest gas discoveries of the last 20 years. Just outboard of Area 1 and Area 4 in northern Mozambique.
So it's potentially quite an interesting area, but maybe the reason why nobody's been there is because there isn't much potential. Or do you know different?
Well, first of all, when we first arrived in Comoros 2 years ago, there was not even a legal and fiscal framework. We had to help the government write their petroleum code. And as you know, that's the first step before getting into a PSC sign. So the exploration history of the Comoros is very young, but we have started 6 months ago and we're making good progress.
Yeah. So what progress have you made so far? What are the early indications?
Our PSC was ratified by the National Assembly in March. Just this summer we shot more than 2,000 kilometers of infill 2D seismic, which we're currently processing and interpreting.
Now, who are Discover Exploration? Because I know that you've all worked together before, but we might be thinking, well, who is this group of people? What do they bring to the party? We
created Discover Exploration 2 years ago. Previously, we were the management team that created and ran Cove Energy. And as you know, we created Cove Energy in 2009. We acquired the acreage in Mozambique, Kenya, and Tanzania. And offshore Mozambique, we were part of the joint venture with Anadarko as the operator that discovered those huge gas discoveries. 3 years later, after a bidding war between the Thai PTTEP and Shell, we sold the company for $2 billion to PTTEP. And shortly after that, we wanted to replicate that success and create Discover Exploration.
So why didn't you just replicate Cove in another publicly listed entity? Why is it important that it's privately owned? What does it give you?
Well, you're right to say that both companies are quite similar. We have the same strategy, which is to focus on the early parts of the E&P life cycle. But we chose, not like Cove Energy, to be publicly listed, but to be privately financed. And in fact, our major shareholder, the Carlyle Group, is one of the largest asset managers in the world. A few reasons for our choice. First of all, currently, it's not a good time to be publicly listed. The public market sentiment for E&P companies, and in particular for explorers, is quite bad. The recent developments with the oil price make that phenomenon even worse. And we believe that also the workload that is freed up by not having your management team spend a lot of time on investor relations, that workload that is free, that time, they can spend that on what they do best, which is managing their assets, their portfolio, and developing new business opportunities. And that is what we do. And
you've also got some other assets in New Zealand.
We've got 2 deepwater licenses in New Zealand, together with Anadarko as the operator, and Origin Energy and Hyundai. We've drilled 2 wells this year, and we are currently looking at the remaining prospectivity of those 2 licenses.
Right. So where next?
Where next? Well, we pretty much focus on working on the Comoros, on continuing progressing our work program there. We are very well funded by our private equity shareholders, so our focus for the coming year is to grow our portfolio.
Right, okay. Alexander Mollinger from Discover Exploration, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Nigel.